Some people assumed I've been acting like Bible characters, like that's some kind of script, but I'm actually quite serious and I'm not acting. In November 2010, I went to David's tomb and saw my body and soul information under a supposed upper room that was mocked. And at that point, I had been praying and fasting. And I went up and I touched the grave. Resurrecting King David while I prayed at the wall in Jerusalem. I was slain, so I fell to my knees. And as I rose up, meaning resurrected, it might be the David of the Bible. In other words, I wasn't expecting this, but I might literally be the King David of the Bible. So before I went on the trip to Israel, the state of Israel, not the literal Israel person that I might be also, I fasted and prayed for 3 nights and 3 days. I didn't drink anything, I didn't eat anything. I didn't come with any money for food because I couldn't afford that, even though I was working full time. So what I'm saying is I fasted what they consider an Estar fast before I went to the state of Israel, okay? I broke my fast at the state of Israel, okay? And then we went on this trip eventually to the Salt Sea or the Dead Sea, where I was also slain and fell in a pile of sand. In other words, shot by a gun. Okay. Got up, resurrected, and walked away. All right. On that trip, there was a mountain we were on that we were riding in a vehicle like a bus. The moment I stood, I was asked to pray, but I stood to pray on the bus because I can keep balance on the bus. The moment they said that the Mount of Olives, that prophecy that the Mount of Olives would split when the Jews' Messiah would return or whatever, it's the moment there was an earthquake on the mountain is when I stood to pray and someone mocked me, criticized me, and told me to sit down, even though they had just asked me to pray. So the moment they scorned me is the moment the earthquake happened while we were on the bus. And they consider that mountain the Mount of Olives. So we went to the Gedi. I love the Gedi. I could hide underneath waterfalls from those that were accusing me on the tour. Okay, so the reason um, I might be the Israel is because my dad said I'm Israel, and he explained to me, and the correct translation of the book of Revelation was not about Jews, but about the Israel, the real Israel. So where that says those who said they were Jews but lied, that's not the correct translation. Those that claim to be Israel, one person, but lied and made a state of Israel while they murdered one person whose identity is also the Israel of the Bible. Okay? And I tested this prophecy also. Um, there were several times where people were constantly bowing to me. I would go to the mall, people would bow to me. I would go to a congregation and stand in the midst of all these people that claim to be Jews or, Israel, the real Israel people. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there would be this light that came into the congregation and they would all be bowing, literally on their faces or kneeling or sitting, whining, struggling to admit that I'm the real Israel. Okay? I would go to a bus stop and there's people bowing at me. I would go to a park and there's people bowing at me. That's what they did to me. They persecuted me and my identity, and they would make all these groups of people appear like me, and they would rob me that way.